Hello there, and thanks for taking the time to interview with us, Mr.
Invisible Man. I prefer to go by that these days.
Oh, that's interesting. So, Mr. Invisible Man, can you tell me a bit about how you got here, what your life was like, etc.?
So, as you can see, I'm a black man living in my 40s underground under a manhole. So, how did I get here? It all started when I gave a speech 20 years ago at my high school graduation ceremony. I used that speech to present to a community of white people at a local building. But what happened here is when I was delivering my speech, I accidentally said the words social equality instead of social responsibility. This ended up angering the whites and forced me to rescind my statements. After I did, I was given a scholarship to attend the State College for Negroes. When I was at this college, I ended up with a job of being the chauffeur for a trustee or a very respected person, Mr. Norton. I was taking Mr. Norton around campus when we happened to come across an area with a distasteful man named Mr. Jim Trueblood, who was a farmer. He had committed incest with his daughter. After I showed Mr. Norton this, our college president, Mr. Bledsoe, was very enraged and was very disappointed in me. So this ended up with me being expelled from the college and being forced to move up north to find a job. After a horrific factory explosion where I was given the job but then was later let go, I was then put in the care of a kind and generous woman named Mary. After living under her care for a while, I ended up leaving her to join a political organization known as the Brotherhood, which I thought fought for social equality for others. However, after the death of one of my comrades, I ended up leaving the organization as I saw that I too was being manipulated. So I moved back to Harlem, New York, where I participated in a series of riots and eventually ended up in a police chase, where I was then forced down a manhole, or rather I fell down a manhole and the police covered the manhole cover on top of me. I burned up all of my previous possessions I had in a briefcase, which then signified that I was able to let go of my previous identity and come to a new enlightened self-awareness, which is why I'm here today.
I see. So, what did you like most about your experiences? How did you write your novel?
So what I like is the fact that I use an open honesty policy with the narrator, or excuse me, with the reader, and that I'm also able to convey my thoughts and feelings by using the first person perspective. I feel that this allows the reader to develop a more deeper sense and a connection with me to what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, etc., that the reader can really see that they too can be in my place and that they can understand what I'm going through.
That's cool. Who would you say should read your story?
I would say that anyone who's interested in pre-civil rights era should read my novel, as my story does take place then, as well as anyone who's interested in seeing how a black man actually manages to develop a new enlightened sense of identity, as sometimes this isn't really too common, but I'm now comfortable with my new identity and I want to share my story and my novel with others.
Alright, well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back next time.